Mack Tight Radio.
Rocking with the hottest radio station, Mack Tight Radio. Ready to learn show, yours truly, Mac Joker. And today is going down. We got a special guest in the building. Go ahead and introduce yourself. Let them know who you are and where you're from.
What's going on, guys? I'm Jeremy Burright. I'm from Oregon, and I've been a coach literally like my entire life. It's been so fun. I didn't even know. I had my friends come together, and they met me in Clubhouse, and they were like, "You realize what you do, right?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" They're like, "You coach people." And I was like, "Yeah, I've talked to people my whole life. What do you mean?" They're like, "Yeah, it's time for you to actually do this." So I've been a coach on that. Now I'm a coach on the side of being a professional athlete too. So I really enjoy my life. So thank you so much for having me.
No doubt, man. It's a pleasure having you, Jeremy. Like I said, when we ran into each other on Clubhouse, I heard you speaking. It was definitely a must. So you say you coach. What do you coach?
I coach three things for the most part, but a lot of nice people in the world, they feel alone, they feel lost, or they feel stuck. Like they're perpetuating the same things that they've done their entire lives. And we really have, whether it's been 10 years, 5 months, or 30 years, some of my clients have done the same things over and over again. And you can't get out of your own patterns by yourself unless you have enough pain that makes you want to change. So sometimes you need somebody that's going to come in and be like, no. Right. I don't know what you just said.
Right.
But you got to stop saying it because it's not true. So sometimes you need someone to
No doubt. No, you definitely do. And how long have you been into, I guess, being a mentor, providing these coaching advice?
So I had a moment when I was in Lithuania. I was playing basketball over there. It was my second professional team. And I was doing stuff on podcasts and I was doing stuff on Instagram. And I've always kind of been this guy. And this girl reached out to me from Morocco. That's where she was. And she was just, I'm going through it. I need this. You seem like someone I can trust. And 5 hours later, on FaceTime, we were talking, and she told me about how her stepdad was mentally abusing her and all these kind of things. And I remember sitting there being like, this is real. Like, this is a moment of somebody trusting me to change their life.
Right.
And I remember that shift of perspective that I saw with her when I told her and painted the picture for her that her little sister was not having the same response with this stepdad. And I was like, she's like, oh, she's needy though. She's this and that. I'm independent. Okay, do you realize that his love language is giving service? Like, he probably loves you more than her.
Exactly.
But you don't allow him to show his love language. And I was like, so this week, I need you to let him do your laundry. Let him do something for you. Watch what happens. I was like, This is such a simple fix. She texted me like that week, oh my God, this and that. And then she just kept coming to me with other things. And I was like, wow. And even just a message that I could show you from her or the 3,000 other ones since then, most of those being free until, this year when my friends cornered me and they're like, no, you're going to charge for this.
Right.
I can't explain those kind of feelings, and I never could.
No doubt. And, that's very, very helpful, especially during a time like today.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask you, Jeremy, since everything that's been going on today, the times that we're living in today, have you seen an increase of people reaching out, just needing, some sort of leadership or mentorship?
I think what I've noticed is that we have a better culture, honestly, of people appreciating their own mental struggles and being able to talk about them. And I don't know if that's from some of the athletes in the world or some of the bigger names in the world making a bigger push towards mental health.
Okay.
But I really think it's almost been more of that than it has been the times. I think, desperate times when people are like, I'm stuck, I'm so alone. If anything, they get more stuck and more lost, and it's harder for them to reach out. So if anything, I'm noticing that I'm having to be the one. And if you've been in my clubhouse rooms, I squeeze the juice out of someone when they're like, because they'll get on and they'll be like, oh yeah, everything's great. I just wanted to talk about the topic, and I'm just here to support anything I can. And I'm just like, I'm listening, going, you're full of crap. Hold on, listen, hold on. Like, what's going on in your life? It's okay for you to be a student right now. I don't need you to be perfect.
Right.
And then they just all of a sudden, it's like it goes from everything is great to I'm so depressed and I have a debilitating cycle. Please help. And I'm like, how did we go from there to there in a minute and a half? And especially with all the coaches that are on the planet right now, the coaches,
Right.
People are even more afraid to talk because they're waiting for someone to sell them something. And so it takes me not very long, but it takes me about 4 or 5 minutes, even when I'm on the phone with someone, for them to realize, like, I really care about you.
Exactly.
And this is different. I don't care. Like, you're gonna be fine. You can't lie to me. That's another story.
Right.
But we're gonna be fine. So I've actually noticed that it's been harder, I think, for people to come forth once they're standing in front of somebody. But as far as the overall culture, I appreciate how people have pushed mental health.
So it's interesting you say that, Jeremy, because it seems as if you're having to be more proactive in reaching out to individuals, as opposed to them, reaching out saying, "Hey, I need help or need some assistance or some guidance."
Well, what's interesting is that the people that I work with are usually coaches, and like I work pretty much solely with like what I call like really nice empath people, and they're people that have put themselves last for such a long time or have been that person for so many. But it's like, yo, who's standing behind your shoulders telling you? Right. Who's the one that's like really cares about you and is going to sit there and ask you like 10 questions, even as a friend? Right. And so that's more what I notice is like I said, the world's talking more about mental health, but it's like, who in the world is on your side? You're there for everyone else, especially in times like this, because they're going to trust their friends, they're going to trust that. But I'm sure you're the guy or you know someone that's incredibly nice that everyone just kind of goes to. It's like, that's the person that needs to be checked on.
Right.
But they have to talk to somebody that has their own stuff put together enough that they can talk to. And I think that's it, is everyone kind of doesn't have their stuff together. And so they're like, I don't want to burden you with my problems. They start talking and they're like, oh, no, okay, I'm going to tell you about my situation right now with my sister. And they're like, oh, that sounds really cool. So the other week I was going through something really similar.
Right.
Like, bro, they were just telling their story.
All over the place.
Let them finish.
No doubt. I wanted to talk. You had an interesting quote on your Instagram page that said, "We were all taught or learned how to play the character we show up as."
Yep.
Can you explain a little bit?
Yeah. So I was basically a forced introvert, to where if I was standing at a family reunion, or I was even in just like after one of my games, because I hit like 500 in high school. Wow. In baseball, I set a bunch of records, and so I had a lot of attention on me, but I didn't speak for the better part of like 19 years. And so if I was standing there, my mom would literally be next to me, and my dad was paralyzed for 20 years, and there's a whole other backstory on certain things like that. And but she would be standing there and be like, oh, good job today. And she'd be like, yeah, he did really well. He did this. And I'm like I didn't speak. Or my older brother at a family reunion, how's everything been? He's been doing really good. He's been doing great. Like, it was like it protected me so much because of all the stuff that had happened with my dad at a young age. And when it happened, it was a pretty small town. And so I literally went to school the next day, and kids would move. Like, my friends, kids I've known forever, because they asked their parents, what do I say to him? And they're like, oh, just leave him alone, give him his space. Right. Of all the things to do to a 10-year-old, I would walk up to someone, and they'd be like, oh, and they'd walk away. So
you were 10 years old dealing with that at the time?
Yeah. He got there's a guy that fell asleep at the wheel coming back from Oregon State University out down in He was living down in California. Right. And then tried to make it an extra 30 minutes back to his house, and fell asleep and hit my dad and hit 2 other officers. So it was a small town kind of thing in Oregon. Yeah. So when I would go to school, like I said, people would literally I'd sit down at the lunch table, and they would move a little. And I was been friends with these kids, my whole life. I'm just a kid. I'm a happy kid, and I just wanted people to treat me the same. So all these things that I've thought about forever is the reason why I can coach people, because I've had so much time by myself throughout the years to be like, oh, this is why I act this way, and this is why I do this. And as you learn yourself, you can pretty much guarantee the truth about yourself, the real nitty gritty, this is it. Right. You can guarantee that there's so many people that are going through that exact same thing.
No doubt. And that's real.
But
real,
the
real
character is something that gets perpetuated, because as I came back, like, or even this year, it's one of my favorite things to talk about. Okay. When my dad finally passed away, may he rest in peace.
Okay.
I remember I'm at this place where I am right now, pretty much. And I remember I'd gone home. I'd been able to tell him how much I love him. I'd been telling him, like, I'm going to be okay. My older brother, Kyle, like, he's going to be okay. He's a great dad. And I remember, like, my little brother, he's going to be okay. Like, don't stay on our behalf. It's been 20 years. Give him a kiss on the forehead. You know, I had that closure. I had that peace. I mean, we cried as a group. We mourned. Right. It was so healthy. It was beautiful. Right. You know, there's so many other stories I could tell you with that. But after that horrible 15 minutes.
Right.
I was good. Like, the rest of the day, we were laughing, we were joking, because I understand that we don't have to play any kind of character no matter what we're going through. And this is where it all hit me of, like, people calling me. Like, I had, a new 1,000 friends on Clubhouse that actually cared, because we spent a lot of time together. Oh, I know today is hard. And I remember being like, and I challenged her and I said, I need to stop you real quick, because it's not. And this is what's wrong, is you're assuming right now that I'm struggling. And if I wasn't the healthy person I would think about it and be like, oh yeah, today is hard. And I'd be sad again. So, like, I gave myself the freedom to be incredibly sad in that moment and feel everything. I mean, snot, tears, I mean, you name it, it was there. And then, holding the brothers and being there for them and letting them know it's okay too. Let's mourn. And then the rest of the day, I had a really good day. I went and played basketball. I was at home because I had to I flew home from Little Rock for my pro team to, like, just hang out for a while. Like, it was a good day. And I don't want to take that away from myself. So I gave myself the freedom that I don't have to play that character to make others feel comfortable. Because when they would call me, I'm laughing and messing around. They're sad. And so now I have to, like, go back into their realm and be like, look, like, this is going to sound a little callous, but I've actually had a really good day. I cried earlier and it was awful. But that doesn't mean I have to play this character to make everyone else feel comfortable. And that was the moment where I was like, holy crap. Right. Because 2 weeks later, people are still calling. I know this has been such a difficult 2 weeks. No, it hasn't. No, it hasn't. I've had moments. I've had the 1% of a day. And this is exactly what happens with mental health. I've seen it with a friend. I've seen it with someone that I haven't, like, I'm getting to know. And it's like a new relationship, and she's amazing. Right. And I'm watching people take this 1% of their day and be like, oh, I have so many problems. I have this, I have that. It's like, no, you don't. You have moments. You're a human being. Stop taking this and being like, oh, I have depression. I have this, I have that, and I'm going through it. I've watched you for the other 99% of the day. You were just fine, but you take this 1% and you label yourself and you make it seem so much worse than it actually is. This is why I'm so passionate about this. Someone that gets labeled with depression and with anxiety with this, you don't have any of those things 2 years ago. In 2019, before the pandemic hit, before all this, before you gained a bunch of weight and you lost yourself, of course you feel like this right now. Your little voice on the inside, sorry, I'm getting passionate right now. Your little voice on the inside, it's been shouting at you to go work out, to go, can I swear on this?
No, yeah.
To go fucking walk.
Right.
It's been telling you that for 2 years. You stopped listening to it. Of course you got voices inside your fucking head that's yelling at you because they're so tired of you sitting around. Like, it's so common sense to me of our spirit and our soul that are literally living inside of us, that God gave us. That have been they start talking, and then they're like, yo, you're really not doing it. They start speaking a little louder. Pretty soon they're just screaming because they're like, what have you done the last 2 years? And you're just disappointing yourself. But as soon as I talk about 2019, she's like, this lady I was just recently coaching, and she's like, oh, I told her tell me about a great time. And she's like, I was at my ex-boyfriend's house and I'm wearing a cape and I'm Batman, and like rolling around, everyone's laughing. I was like, were you depressed and this then? Oh no. Okay, well, you're the same soul, you're the same spirit, you just lost touch with it. Like, it's so simple. Right. And so I could continue to go on, but we don't have to play that character. Even if somebody labels you, and it's Western medicine doing a really good job of naming something. that is going on spiritually and soulfully inside your body. So kudos, the fact that we have that, the fact that we have medicine that helps. I really do appreciate that, and I believe in that. But it's not your destination. It's not your end game.
No doubt. And the quote is something that, like you said, it needs to resonate with everybody if you just, think about it. Let's talk about your sports career. What sports were you involved in? Those sports did you play?
So I played baseball. Actually, pretty much my whole life. So if you found me in the summertime, I was somewhere in the field. If you found me in the springtime, I was somewhere in the field. If you found me in the winter, I was in a batting cage working on stuff to go into the field. And I was just really freaking good. I was a kid that could be alone for days by myself in a batting cage.
What position did you play?
Whatever one they needed.
Okay.
Whatever one they needed. I payed all 9 except for – actually, then my coach made me play catcher one game just to say that I played every position. And that was – I didn't have a catcher's glove, so I was literally standing there with my Rawlings. It was like this big, and I remember it having like zero padding and being like, what the heck am I doing with my life?
Right. So you even got on the mound, huh? You even touched the mound? You pitched on?
I threw 95 miles an hour my junior summer in college, so they made me stay on the mound once I got to college, which is the whole reason why I quit, because I was doing something I didn't love, because I didn't love just pitching. I wanted to impact the game and not watch people be passive, but that's a different story.
Okay, so you're playing baseball, and they pretty much wanted you to play pitcher and said you're going to pitch.
Yep. I walked in my first day of my sophomore year. It's one of my favorite stories to tell, and they made me not hit the first year. And the kid that was coming in to play first base knew of me because of all the records I set. Right. And he hit like 60 points less in high school, like with like 4 less home runs. Like I didn't even know who he was, and everyone knew who I was in this conference. So my coach had saw me throw he saw me throw a shutout before, and I didn't hit that day. I was just pitching. Okay. And so he only knew of me as a pitcher at a showcase. And so by the time this kid came in, I walked into my coach's office. I said, I'm going to beat him in everything. In fact, I'm going to embarrass him in everything. Right. Because there's a reason why, and I sent him the text, showed him the text, that there's a reason why he knows who I am. I have no idea who this kid is. And I showed him his stats. I showed him my stats. I had a 44-game hitting streak in high school. I literally had 19 stolen bases. I had 10 triples, and I'm 6'6", and I also had 10 home runs. So I led the league in all, like, Triple Crown, all this kind of stuff. I can show you guys the papers. This is real stuff.
No, you good.
So when he came into that team, I said, I'm going to embarrass him everything. I hit 430 in fall ball. Okay. And every running, every weightlifting, everything, he would be coming up to me trying to befriend me. He was actually a really nice kid. I wouldn't talk to him. I wouldn't look at him. Nothing. I just wanted to embarrass him. I wanted him to literally, in Oregon, there's a lot of rain. I wanted him to get the mud in his face as I'm sprinting in front of him. Right. As hard as I can. Right. It was that bad. Anyways, I ended up being coach told me he paid him money and said, if I don't give him any kind of job, I'm wasting my money for the scholarship. Right. And I told him he was making a mistake. I cried. I didn't know how to stand up for myself as well then. All that other stuff sounds great because I was just super mad. In this case, I'm literally in his office crying because I just hated all of it. And midway through the season, I was 6-0 on the mound. Okay. And I had my first loss. I threw a one-hitter and lost. I don't know how much you watch baseball or how much your viewers watch baseball.
Oh, no, I play, yeah. Okay.
I threw a one-hitter and lost.
Wow.
And I had never hit under like 400 in my life. And my team, I think I got 2 hit. And they were passive, taking strikes. I motherfucked my entire team. I was like passive, just all of it. Right. My coach walks up to me afterwards and he goes, I don't know what just happened, but I really love it. You're starting on Tuesday. I went 3 for 4, 3-run home run, hadn't touched a bat in a month and a half. Started the rest of the year, had hit a home run off Jeff Ames, who was drafted 42nd overall in playoffs. And I mean, pimped it and like winked at my old best friend rounding third base. Like it's one of our favorite stories to tell. We were playing against each other. He hated me at the time, but I mean, it was all of that, and I finally got that chance, but I got tired of fighting it, so I mentioned quit.
But no, it's interesting you bring that up though, Jeremy, because you said the coach, he saw that fire in you,
Mm-hmm.
and you were, hell bent on the situation, going at, your other teammates, but he saw that fire in you that you got to start the next
Yep.
game, and
Yep.
you went out there and showed your ass pretty much.
Yeah, and I hadn't touched the bat in a month and a half, but it was just, I was so angry.
That's what's up.
Yeah, and like even once he was like, "Oh, I was wrong. I was this." I was like, "Yeah, you were. I told you that." Like in your office, crying. And then
Right.
I went to a D1 college after that in University of Portland.
Okay.
And I told them, like, I was like, I can play both, and they basically laughed, and I was just like, I'm so done with this. Like, I just
Right.
Yeah.
So basically, after that, you just switched gears and chose a different route in the path.
Yeah, after that, I was living down in California on vacation. Got 2 full-time jobs. That's a different story.
Right, right.
And
No doubt,
literally
no
in
doubt.
one day, I was on vacation with a friend of mine and started helping this kid out who was pitching by himself. And it looked like he was struggling in this gym. And the owner was behind me. He used to play for the Blue Jays. He was
Okay.
actually in a tryout, so the kid wasn't supposed to be being helped right then.
Right.
But once he asked me like what I said to the kid, he was like, "Do you want a job?" I was like, "What?"
Well, who me? Right.
So pretty soon, my friend was like, "Hey man, you want to stay in California? You're welcome to. I got a restaurant job you can work at too." Where I met like Paul Walker before he passed away.
Paul Walker.
A couple other people. It was an amazing restaurant down there. I don't know
Oh.
where you at in the country?
ATL, Atlanta.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yep.
Anyways, I ended up doing that. But when I was down there, I had 2 full-time jobs and just went and tried out for the Bakersfield D-League team. I wanted to know if I was good enough. I was working out every day. I was doing the Vertimax.
Right.
And I walk in purple shoes, black shorts, a white tank top with nothing on it.
Right.
And this is a G League trial at the time for the NBA. Syracuse, Duke shirts, walking around, and I was just like,
Top D1 schools.
I'm gonna learn today.
Right. But I had a chance to. I want you to speak on it a little bit. But I had a chance to check out some of your workout videos, and it seems like they're pretty intense. So, how many are you still in the gym? If so, how many days a week are you working out? Or what have you?
So I got connected with Jordan Lawley, who trains like Caruso, Levine. He used to train CJ and Klay Thompson a little bit as well. And over the pandemic, I was working with Phil Handy, who's assistant coach of the Lakers app.
Okay.
And he was starting to see me grow every day because
Right.
I've only been playing basically for like 8 years focused. Because it was baseball, and winter baseball.
Right.
I played a little bit, but I didn't have a whole lot of skills. I was just an athletic kid. So as I was training with Jordan Lawley, after Phil connected me to him, after seeing me on his app, I just started to compare myself to these guys and be like, I'm actually not that far off. Like I'd have days. I had a couple days when I was down there with Caruso and Klay, and I was the best player in the gym.
Okay.
Well, I played the best. They were better than me, but I showed up the best that day.
Right.
And it just gave me this insane amount of confidence. And Jordan was telling me too, he was like, you can play. And it was all mental.
Right.
And so then after that, I met this coach down in Louisville, Texas, right outside of Dallas. And we lift for about an hour and a half.
Okay.
And then we play like 3 games to 50 by 1s and 2s.
Right.
That are 4s, 3s, and then he'll be like, okay, let's play one more. Dude's 47 still out here playing with us.
Wow.
And if you are being soft at all, he's like, I'm 47 and I'm right here. Get back on the court. And I remember the first day I was 187 pounds. I'd lost a bunch of weight after an injury, and I'm up at 205 right now.
Okay.
3.5 months later. And then so we lift for an hour and a half to play for however long until he's tired, which doesn't happen. And then we lift legs and abs and all that afterwards.
So it's pretty intense. It's pretty
5-hour days right now.
It's pretty intense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I know you're back in the gym. You're busting it up.
Mm-hmm.
Is there still any aspiration about professional sports or?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And honestly, the league that he created is a development league. It's a professional league. There's some ex-G leaguers. There's guys that have been overseas like myself.
Right.
And there's people that are D1, D3. Some of his favorite people, though, are like D3 NAI guys that just
No doubt.
got looked over. And myself, because I didn't have a resume, but I played overseas small time professionally.
Okay.
And when I played against him, I had like 17 minutes or something like that. And I am friendly, so I'm talking to him after the game, and I appreciate like how stern he was, like how direct he was to his players.
Okay.
And I remember he called me. He was like, "You're not being used right, and you haven't touched your ceiling, even though you're 30 at the time, 31 now."
Right.
He's like, "You haven't touched your ceiling," and put on 20 pounds. Like my vert is better than it's ever been. I caught a couple of bodies.
No doubt. So now, the passion, you got more passion for the basketball now, or is it still baseball too, or is it more basketball?
Oh no, I'm sorry. I haven't played baseball since I walked away when I was 22.
Okay.
So I haven't played baseball in 9 years, I guess, right now.
Okay.
I think I went to an alumni game and I got a strikeout and felt pretty good about it. But
right. Just still to throw it in their face, still, no doubt.
One more time.
So basketball now. Okay, so we transitioned to basketball now, and I did hear you say you played a little overseas, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Can you speak? You mind speaking on that a little bit? How was that like?
It was completely unknown, completely unsure, and that's some of my favorite memories of my life, man.
No doubt.
Yeah, I went to a Vegas camp and was the best player in the gym and tried to dunk on this 6'11" dude, and he didn't at the very end, and he didn't jump.
He said he didn't jump.
He didn't jump. We made eye contact at half court. I'm gonna jump. You're gonna jump. We'll see what happens. See when the dust settles. I jumped early, was up, and he saw it. Tried to stop. Point guard runs into the back of him. He ducks. I get clipped, and I'm outside the key trying to reach for the rim.
Wow.
And didn't make it to the rim. Was unconscious for like a minute.
Damn.
I don't know this because it was on film, and the dude was sauntering across the gym. The first person I saw.
Right.
He took 1 minute and 1 second to get across the gym, and he was the first person I saw when I came to. And man, I wanted to fight so bad. Because that guy didn't jump with me, like, because he was, I don't know. But anyways, I ended up still going on a tour with that coach that was there to Estonia. That's a whole other story. We played one team from France, and he didn't really have any other connections. That's it. We played one team, and he canceled the tour while we were there. So I asked him what his other connections were, because I was like, I told everybody I was going to play basketball. Everyone. Like, I've always wanted to. I cried about it when I played so well in Vegas. Like, I deserve this. And so I flew to Germany, where his other connection was this guy named Liam Flynn, who was an agent and a coach out there for one of the big leagues. And emailed him, and he was like, I haven't talked to that guy in years. And I was like, well, we kind of got stranded. Would you do a workout for me and just allow me to use your name in emails? And he's like, yeah, if you're good enough. And I had a great day. I had a really good day, and I got me a workout and 3 other people, and then I literally sat in a basement and sent out. I'm not kidding. I wish I was. It was the longest 3 weeks of my life. I sent out 6,000 emails.
Wow.
From 2 different. So I sent out to 3,000 teams, and I sent it out from 2 different email services. Like, I made one that said Moxie Scouting Services, which didn't exist, to talk about Jeremy. And the third person, I got responses on that, and then then they would talk to my account too. And they called Liam, the team that was in the town eventually, and gave me a chance to come to practice. They didn't like their American because I was there, and I got my first job. And since then, I've had other tours and gotten other jobs and had an amazing time and learned a few languages and dated people in other countries and just had a life that I always. Actually, I didn't even know it existed, but I've had a life that's been really, really fun. I'm very thankful for it.
No, that's what's up, man. You know, like you said, it's definitely an experience, and just to open your eyes up to new things. I also had a chance to see a couple of overtime clips. Were you partaking in any overtime and won any of these other leagues?
I don't think so. I mean, I've been a part of some clips over the years, being at J-Laws the last few years, or I don't know. I don't think I have been on overtime that much. I mean, I remember messaging like my brothers, and I was like, I'm on overtime for the wrong reasons because I'm a part of the play.
Right. Right.
But I haven't quite been that guy. If I would have had the poster that I had the other day, oh my God, I don't. That one might have ended up on overtime, but
No, right. No doubt. Tell you what. Okay. Right now, today, give me your top five NBA players.
Oh God, I'm so glad we're going here.
Don't have to be any particular order. Give me your top five.
Steph Curry,
Okay.
DeMar DeRozan.
Okay.
Which
Interesting.
Did not see that happening this year.
Interesting.
Yeah. Zach LaVine. So we got two on the same team.
Okay.
Kevin Durant.
Okay.
And oof. Joel Embiid.
Not bad.
Yeah. And
Okay.
LeBron James is not on
I noticed that
list.
I noticed that. So next, what's your spiel? What's your take on the Lakers? Are they
They're a
okay?
nightmare.
Are they too old as constructed, or
It's
well,
not,
Melo's been lighting up lately.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if that's a resurgence, a blast from the past.
I mean, I'm from Portland since I spent so
Okay.
much time, so I got to watch Melo's, rebuild from just having a
Nugget
team that
days.
believed in him.
You saw the Denver Nugget days as well too.
Oh my gosh, yeah, of course. And him
Right.
against Kobe, and he was always. I feel like he was always just a little bit out of shape to be able to play the defense that he needed to play to win a championship.
Yeah. Is he ring chasing? Do you think by making that move to LA?
Maybe. I think part of it might have been just wanting to play with his friends. I mean, you look at him, Bron, and Westbrook all being on the same team, and you really can't hate it. It's just one of those things where you're looking at it and you're thinking about how the shape of the league works.
Right.
It's just not going to work in the regular season. If they get to the postseason with, what wins in the postseason, which is defense, mid-range, being able to bully people a little bit and get simple buckets because no one shoots as good in the postseason as they do in the regular season.
Right.
They might have a decent chance of doing okay, but there's just so much shooting everywhere else in the league.
Right.
And they just don't have it. And they have a guy like Russ who is so talented, but like talented in ways that is outside, and it has the turnovers and then has the reckless abandon and has the shooting, which at times it's just like when he was making shots, even in old Russ days, he was one of the best players on the planet. It's like, how do you stop him?
Right.
But when he's not making shots, it's like they're hard clanks. It's not a joke that whoever it was on ESPN like literally last week said West Brick out loud, and then
West Brick.
He said West Brick. I think it was like Jay Williams or one of those guys, and he said it was like, well, West Brick, and he was like Westbrook, and everyone was like, oh my god.
Wow.
So
yeah,
I think,
man.
I don't think it's age. I think it's really just they don't have enough role players that are kind of be able to do the other jobs, like carry the load.
So if you had to pick today, who's front running away with? Is it Brooklyn? Who says the front runner to win the chip?
I feel about Brooklyn how I feel about LA.
Okay.
If you got a bunch of scorers on the same team, a bunch of ball dominant guys, your shooters, your role players will literally shut down.
Okay.
I've seen it even in the small professional ranks. And so when you got KD, Harden, even Kyrie, if Joe Harris hasn't taken a three in a couple minutes and now he's being trusted to take a big shot.
Interesting point, because he did disappear last year in the playoffs. Joe Harris, he couldn't buy a bucket.
Mm-hmm. Well, and then you see the same thing happen because, like I said, I'm from Portland. With Dame this year, Chauncey is making him, if anyone's watching him, he's making him pass. You can see it. Like, he'll literally be in the lane, already beating his guy, and do something like he would just finish. And he's kicking out every time in the first two quarters, pretty much. So unless they really need a bucket. If they really need a bucket, he scores. If they don't, he's passing 90% of the time. And he's turning it over because he's never done this in his career.
No doubt.
But I know that Chauncey's doing this because Melo, Norman Powell, and one other guy, I can't remember, didn't touch the ball for like a 6-minute span in that Nuggets game when Dame was going nuts. And then Dame was tired and needed one of them to make a bucket, and it wasn't close.
Well, do you think, with you being from Portland, do you think CJ and Dame will ever win a championship together?
I think with this kind of Dame, yes.
Okay.
Because I'm watching the evolution of him as an actual point guard and the understanding of I need everyone to be going, which is something that Kobe learned. If you heard on Doing Work with Spike Lee, Kobe learned that and was like, I need Derek Fisher to be going. I need what was that? Sojavec, something Vec, like the number 10. It was a shooter on their team.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Like he's like, I need everyone to be going. Jordan Farmar, people. Like look who he won a championship with.
Right.
He would get these role players going, and they won. And KD did the same thing in playoffs last year. If you were talking about Brooklyn, where he had the ball every play, so of course everyone else disappeared. Like it's not even basketball at that point. Honestly, it's just like Rucker Park, and it's like 1-on-1,
right? Exactly.
Or whatever park outdoors.
Right.
You want to call it.
Rucker Park. Yeah, hero ball.
Yeah.
So I'm taking then that you think Chauncey was the right guy for the job.
From what I'm seeing right now, I think Chauncey was the right guy for the job. And as far as front runners go, it's the Warriors and the Bulls.
No doubt.
I mean, you watch Steph Curry. He'll literally have 3 players on him and still create 6 feet of space and get a shot off or get through and make the right play for his teammates. And you just go from your viewers last night, go watch just the highlights of last night's game with them being down in Cleveland. It was not a super talented team, but they're good.
Right.
And watch what happened when Steph had, I think, like the first 16 of the fourth quarter, and how much attention he draws across half court. And then as soon as it was like Jordan Lee got the ball one time, one dribble, looked at Steph going away from the hoop, and his man literally started to run with him. Jordan Lee just turned the corner, went and just dunked it. Because there was 3 people that had attention on Steph at 32 feet.
Wow.
There's no one in the world that impacts the game like that.
Yeah, they say you got to pick him up at half court, man. He's letting it go 32 or better. You know, Today is how can you guard him today? Is he the MVP today? Mm-hmm. Right now, is he your MVP?
He's the best player in the league. It's not even close.
Okay.
Man, he's just so good. He's so good. Oh, so yeah, because that's why he was. I named him in my top 5, didn't I?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Steph was in there. LeBron was not. Some interesting names. That was not. Kawhi was not. Anthony Davis was not.
Anthony Davis is a black hole. You go watch the last 3 seasons where even when the Lakers were playing really well, they would struggle when they would start hitting him in the mid post and letting him go to work. The whole game, the speed, the tempo. It reminded me of LaMarcus back in Portland back in the day, where it's like, okay, this is great and he can score, but again, everyone else is standing around. Basketball is such a rhythm, flow, dominate game, which is why Steph is the best player in the world, because he moves. He does things off the ball.
He moves without the ball. And interesting pick that you had, and I can kind of see why, but I'm still going to let you elaborate on it. You had a name in there, DeMar DeRozan. Mm-hmm. You're going to have to elaborate a little bit more.
No, it's totally fair.
About that.
It's his ability to score in the mid-range is going to be...
Yeah, his mid-range game is nice. He's got a nice mid-range game.
But it's so simple. It's so simple. And that's what this coach down here has taught me, is the simple part of the game. If you have your worst game of your life and you have a simple game, you're still going to have 20 and impact the game the way that he does. And he plays defense. He can't, I'm watching him this year, and his footwork is elite. It's elite. He just is so comfortable, and he gets to wherever he wants on the floor.
Right.
And so I see him as someone who can't be guarded very well at all. And he's making the 3 a little bit, but it's the other things that he does. I'm watching him carry the Bulls through any type of low period that they're having.
Right.
And him and Lonzo. Lonzo, I feel could be up there too. Lonzo's so good at what he does. I really, truly believe in those 3 players of DeRozan, Zach LaVine, and Lonzo. But As far
Well,
as it's hard to call someone a top 5 guy, and I understand that it's a big statement. But when you watch what he's doing on the court, it's the impact that he makes every single time he's out there.
No doubt. Well, I will give Lonzo kudos for putting in the work
Mm-hmm.
and, to improving the game. I mean, that's a prime example. If you put in the work, results will show. And that's, I give him his kudos on that.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta ask you about Steph's teammate Clay then.
Mm-hmm.
We can't, we gotta mention the other half of the Splash brother.
That's right.
How do you feel about Clay Thompson?
So I met him when
Okay.
I was training down there, and I remember he walked in the gym, and I was kind of like, "What's going on, man?" And he kept walking, and he said, "What's up?" And I was like, "I feel like I know that guy," because I just was in the middle of working out. I was like, "Oh, that's Clay Thompson. That's pretty cool." And we had a shooting competition, and he was coming back off his ACL,
Right.
and he was like, he immediately just jumped in, and he had to make a 3, a pull up, and then something off the dribble from each spot. And I was leading going into the last spot.
Okay.
And I remember the 2 other guys I was working out with, Casey Rivers and I don't remember the other guy that was there, 2 upper level pro guys overseas. We're like, "Oh man, you're gonna tell your family about this one." I was on my last shot.
Right.
And I was like, "No, I'm not." I was like, "It's not a big deal." And then I thought about it. I was like, "Yes, it is." Missed the shot. Clay hit 2 in a row and beat me. And I remember that I was like, man, like I really would have told my whole family about that. Like,
Right.
You're right.
Right.
In the moment, he's just another basketball player because we're just both training on the same court. But he did something there where he would pump. If he missed, he would pump fake and then take the shot. And I was like, "Do you do that like as like a trigger thing to like reset yourself?" And he's like,
Right.
"Yeah, sometimes." He goes, "I just like to feel like I'm stable and on balance and know before I take my next shot." And I was like, "Okay, cool."
Nice.
And I was telling my brother that later. And he's like, "Do you realize how many like thousands of dollars someone would have paid to ask him that question?"
Exactly. No.
And I was
Really?
like, I didn't think about it at the time. And I was like, because I want to be where they're at. And
Exactly.
and we won 2 of the games against his team when we were playing in the. I mean, he was dominant. He knew exactly what he wanted to do. But I guess the thing I'll mention with Clay is like he just knows exactly what he wants to do when he's on the court. Every time he touches the ball, he already knows he's shooting. He already knows he's passing. He's got such an incredible feel for the game, and I got to see that firsthand.
Right.
And with him, like he's going to do the same thing for Steph as he always did in the past. I think. And I think it's just going to take him a while to get back to that. It could take him a while to get back to that speed that he wants to play at.
Right. No doubt. All right, let's talk the Jeremy Burright podcast. Tell us a little bit about your podcast. Some of the things that you talk about, some of the guests, and how long you've been doing your thing.
So I actually don't do it as much. I actually took it off my profile picture recently because I realized that the most important thing for me right now is to focus on coaching people one-on-one. And I had 4 clients, like month-long, full-on clients back in April and May. And then I took a hiatus and was like, I just want to focus on basketball. I want to put on the weight, want to do the things that I need to do.
Right.
And now I'm back, and I'm back taking clients, and I have a call today. I have one on Sunday that we're doing a deep dive. So I have 3 services that I do. And one of them is more of a personal service.
Okay.
And it's more of, people that are stuck, people are in that situation, and that's one cost. I have more of one that's like a business package, which is pretty standard. That's going to be the one that most people take, where it's a couple calls. And then I have one that's like a 2-week intensive, and then I have a month-long one, which I don't usually do anymore.
Okay.
I don't want to, and people usually make the shift within like a couple weeks anyways, and then after that we're talking about stuff. But that's really been the most important thing I realized, and that's why I'm back on Clubhouse so much, because I know it's what I'm supposed to be doing. The podcast that I made in the original part I called it the New Masculine Podcast when it was first created.
Right. Because
I would look around at guys in the world and people that I wanted to be my mentor. Right. And I was like, man, they might have the success that I want, but I don't appreciate the way that they got there.
Exactly.
Or I was looking at nice people, really nice people like myself, and I'm like, they get walked on all the time. And I was like, I don't want either of that. I don't want to be super successful and be a jerk.
Right.
And I don't want to get walked on. And my father, like I said, was hurt, so he was out of my life. So I created a podcast and was like, called the New Masculine Podcast. I'm going to love people. I'm going to appreciate people. I'm going to lift them up. But I have so much respect for myself that there's no way I would ever let someone treat me like crap.
Exactly.
So it's like that, finding that balance of you can be nice and be very opinionated about things,
right,
and live that fun life where you treat people with a lot of care and love them.
Man, no doubt, man. Like I said, you're definitely doing great things. As a mentor, I think people do need great and good leadership, and you just continue to do the damn thing. You're welcome back on the Ready to Learn show anytime, Jeremy. And of course, before you get out of here, you gotta let the people know how to tap in with you if they want to, follow you, get a hold of you, and check you out, get some coaching.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on Clubhouse quite a bit, but I do. You can reach out to me just on Instagram at Jeremy_Burright, or honestly, I give out my WhatsApp a lot. So if you DM me, I'm gonna give you my WhatsApp, and I'm gonna be like, let's talk. Because a lot of times, like I said, people will be like, everything's going good in my life. And then 5 minutes later, it's, ooh, this is a different person.
Right. Right.
I know you're a coach and I know you're this and I know you're that, but like, it's okay right now to be a student and chill. Like, I got you. And so, yeah, you can reach out to me on any of those, on any of the platforms. Really, you'll find me on all of them. And from there, we'll just have a 15-minute call and figure out the way that I can best serve you in your life. Because a lot of times, even when someone's like, oh, I'm calling and I want some help with my business, I want some help with that, it's like, well, you just mentioned your wife 18 times.
Right.
So let's start there. Because apparently
right,
you're scared to even have a conversation with your own wife and treat her the way you did when you first met her, and then they start crying, and I'm like, let's do this. Exactly. And what's most important is always most important. And from there, everything else falls into place because we are what we do repeatedly.
No doubt. Jeremy Burright, Ready to Learn show. Yours truly, Matt Joker. Yeah, we out of here.
Mack,
yeah.
Radio.
I appreciate you having me. Thank you.